Oh, un momento. What's up, everybody? Welcome to On the Record, the Fat Records fan podcast, where we're going album by album, side by side, and roughly chronologically through the whole dang catalog. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, and I'm joined by Alex and Josh. How are you guys doing today?
What's going on, buddy?
How you doing?
Eh? Yeah, doing all right. All right. So today we've got three Fat Records to talk about. The first of those three records is Breakfast at Papa's by Consumed. Before we go into the liner notes, I just want to make it known that I think the cover art to this is terrible. What do you guys think about that cover art?
Let me pull it up. I off the top of my head, I couldn't even tell you what the damn thing looked like.
It is pretty bad. I don't love it.
I'm just playing music in the middle of the podcast. It's fine.
You listen to some ska?
No, it was oh god, Cool in the Gang.
Okay. I just heard the horns, that's all. You know what this kind
Oh
of...
yeah, this is terrible. That's right. I forgot what. Ugh.
And
Yeah.
I think it's because of it's the white and the green. It does remind me of like the Lawrence Arms Apathy and Exhaustion cover art a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just-
It kind of reminds me of the show Home Movies too.
Oh yeah.
The great animated show.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that one MXPX album cover with the jock that has the nerd and the
life in general.
the punk in the headlock. Yeah. Did we talk about that record on this show?
I don't think so.
I don't think we've talked about
I don't know if we've covered any MXPX so far.
We definitely did an MXPX record once, right?
I don't know that we did.
I don't know. Maybe it was one of the ones I was off for.
Maybe
Yeah.
we talked. Well, I don't remember talking about them. Sorry, they're not that notable.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so this album was released on July 28th. This EP, this little short thing was released on July 28th, 1998. The band lineup for this record was Steve Ford on guitar and vocals, Mike Ford on guitar and backing vocals, Baz Barrett on bass, and Chris Billam on drums. Those are like Baz Barrett is like a name that you would only find in
England.
Yeah.
100%.
Baz Barrett.
Baz.
Say that 4 times
fast. We could not find any information on where this was recorded, but it was recorded and mixed by Andy Sneap, and it was written and arranged by The Consumed. So
Dumbledore killed Sneap.
I, kind of in general, were you guys terribly familiar with this record before?
I was familiar with the name and again, maybe a comp song, but that was it.
I was familiar with this one because I really, really love one of these songs to the point where I did go out and get myself a copy. I don't think I ever got any of the other records this band did. I think they only had like 2 other ones, but yeah, I think I liked it enough that I actually went out and got it. But it's been a long time since I came back to this.
Yeah, I definitely either recognized a song from like a Fat Comp or potentially, I guess, from you playing this or something. I don't know. Some of the songs sounded kind of familiar.
Mm-hmm.
They have some riffs. I kind of feel like they remind me a bit of None More Black in that respect.
I can see that.
Really,
I like the faster
really
None More
riffs.
Black songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how'd you guys feel about Heavy Metal Winter?
Kind of echoed your sentiments. I thought it had a lot of great riffs. I think it's a solid opener. There's some cool gang vocals in there. Gives you a pretty good idea of what you're in for as far as the rest of the offering goes.
I think this
I thought the riffs are cool.
pretty far and away the best track here. I really like the EP overall, but I do think that this one is like the absolute standout.
Yeah, they put their best foot forward for sure.
Yeah. What a great way to start a record. Those guitar leads are so good. The intro, the drums really gets you pumped up. So this song, you might recognize this song because it was on the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 soundtrack.
Oh, that's where I recognize it from then,
and
yeah.
It feels like it really, like, I mean, it fits that specifically so well, too. Yeah, I mean, it's really catchy. And I love the instrumental bridge at the end and how it lets like the bass come through. It's a really good song from front to back. Like this is I put this one on my list of favorite songs on Spotify. I really like this song.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a very good song. So there's a couple of songs on this record that the name to me kind of made me think of another band, and this was the first one. I'm sure it's not the case, but I kind of wonder if it's a Stone Roses reference.
Well,
yeah.
Because the Stone Roses song is "Bye Bye Bad Man," which also a great song.
Yes.
So maybe, but I think a lot of these song titles, they do make sense with the lyrics, I guess, to a certain degree. But like this one in particular, like I don't know. I mean, I guess just the lyrics in general are kind of obtuse in some ways. But this one does seem like it is really just them kind of joking around. So I could see that them just like not knowing what to call it and then just saying, let's just play off of that song title by the Stone Roses.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I like the main lead on this, and the main riffs on this song were pretty good.
Yeah, another super, super catchy track.
Yeah.
The other... Oh, good.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to move to the next song, so that's why I was telling you to go ahead. But
all
right.
I guess in terms of the title and the lyrics, like, because the song, I don't know if you want to talk about what any of these lyrics actually mean, because they are, I guess they're not like super deep in any way, but this one in particular seems to be about someone who puts their best face forward and flatters in order to have a place to stay, and then they inevitably get kicked to the curb by their living situation. It just sounds like about a girl who's a total freeloader.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does sound like somebody that dates for financial security. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that if all parties are aware of what's going on, but
everyone knows the best song about a freeloader is "Shark Attack" by the Bouncing Souls.
Too bad you weren't on that episode where we talked about that.
I know. I listened to it though, and it was very good. They ate all the yoo-hoo. That's my favorite line in that song. They ate all the yoo-hoo.
I love that song. It's a great one.
They're in a band. They're from France.
They played in France.
So, Brutal Tooth, that was another song that
great title.
Well, it made me think of that grime band Brutal Truth.
Yeah, that's first place my mind went to.
But they're a US band, so like it's not, I mean, maybe they just like the band, but also the lyrics seem to be about somebody, I guess, learning a brutal truth. And so that might be why it's called Brutal Tooth. I don't know. What did you think, Alex? Or what do you think?
Just messing around again. Because I mean, like the lyrics to me seem kind of it's just about somebody who's afraid to move on from their current situation because they're like too comfortable and they don't want to change. And they're just fucking up by passing up opportunities, which is a brutal truth of life, is that like if you just kind of let it go, no one's gonna force you to move on until maybe like it's just too late, like you just didn't think about it. um yeah, I think as far as the title goes, I think they're just being cute.
Um, so one thing that really stuck out to me with this song was in the second half, like right around the halfway point, maybe like 5 seconds after it, it goes into like the most NoFX sounding solo I think
Yeah.
I've ever heard from a band that isn't NoFX. Like it's got like the kind of the I feel like I'm going to use a term terribly incorrectly here, but like the wah effect that like a lot of NoFX
Oh yeah,
solos have.
Yeah, I have the same note. Yeah, it's very like the song in general just reminded me of like earlier Lagwagon and NoFX, 90s NoFX. In all the best ways.
All right. Anything more on Brutal Tooth?
No, I think it's a good. It would have been a good candidate for the opener if Heavy Metal Winter wasn't on here. I think that would have been a good opener. Otherwise,
see that it's short and fast.
The main thing that stuck out to me for Stand Under Me was that the opening riffs to that song are pretty cool.
Yeah, that was the only part of I really cared for this one. I like that main riff, and that was about it.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add there. I think I agree with Josh.
I really like the name of the next song, Nonsense Cone. I think the song has like all these songs really cool riffs.
Yeah, the leads are really neat. A lot of really like intricate, like kind of interspersed stuff in there.
Yeah, in particular on this one, like I will say that the drumming in general on this record is really good. It stood out to me, but on this song, there was definitely the part where he's saying, "I won't be missing her today." It has like the drums have a really great rhythm to them, where they just like pause for like a second, and then it's like almost like this like cascading drum beat or something. I don't know, it's really cool. I kept like kind of listening to this one, this particular song, a bunch of times just because I really like the drumming.
Yeah. Bigger Shoe. Either of you guys, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't have much else to say about Bigger Shoe.
I thought it was a great closer. I like the way it kind of builds towards the end before the vocals come back in and finish the song off. It has a really nice, like, kind of building momentum at the end.
Yeah, I think it closes out the EP really well. This was, I do think that the two strongest songs for me are the opener and the closer. So I really like
absolutely.
The guitar at the beginning, and the lead that they repeat is really good. Yeah, it's just a solid, fun song. And this one, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it, I guess.
So, I mean, I think overall, thumbs up all around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really solid.
All right.
Let's. What?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I think that it's one of the few records that we've listened to recently where I thought the drumming really stood out. I thought the drumming was really good on this record.
It really is. It's solid. It's a cool EP to like kind of give you an idea of what to expect from this band. Like if you're just wanting to check them out and you're like, maybe I like their other stuff. This is a good way to get a feeling for kind of what this band is about, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's 6 really solid songs, and one I think truly excellent one.
All right. Well, we're swinging on over to Swingin' Utters, The Sounds Wrong EP.
Oh, it sounds wrong. All right. About as wrong as that segue.
All right, we're going to go through the liner notes. So I did not realize until like the last time I listened to this that this may have not been recorded and released in 1998 originally.
Nope.
And that's because it was originally released sometime in 1995 through IFA Records. Fat reissued it November 24th, 1998. The band lineup is...
It's not 28 people again, is it?
No.
Like
No, this
the
is
last
shorter.
record?
Nope.
This is much shorter.
So 7 bass players again?
We got Johnny P. Bucks Bonnell on vocals.
That's not a real name.
Max Huber on guitar. Darius Koski on guitar. Kevin Wickersham on bass, and Greg McEntee on drums.
These are all people that sound like they just hop trains. Those aren't real names.
Yeah. This was just a hobo band originally before they signed to Fat.
All these guys are still in the band, by the way. We just covered this.
Those aren't real names. I stand by. I'm dying on this hill.
This was recorded at the Ranch in Seattle. This is really bucking some trends. They're a California band, right?
Yeah, San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, I guess recording in Seattle makes more sense if you're San Francisco. Engineered by Greg Williamson, mixed by John Dunleavy, and produced by Max Huber. So I think so far this probably wound up being my favorite Swinging Utters record we've talked about. I like this. I think it's just 5 really good punk songs.
Yeah, I want to say this is probably the earliest material that they... I think it was the first EP, or first or second EP, so I just think it's kind of crazy, like, since we just covered 5 Lessons Learned, and then coming back to this one, which was recorded like 3 or 4-ish years beforehand, how different they are in terms of like how like the sound has expanded so much.
Absolutely.
It's kind of crazy because they start off as like this really straightforward throwback punk band that has more in common with Rancid than where they are on 5 Lessons Learned, with all these like additional instruments and it's cool to have that contrast after just talking about 5 Lessons.
Yeah. So, one of the things I noticed right away with the Dirty C is that this record sounds a lot more rough than the 2 Swinging Utters records we've talked about. I thought that the Dirty C is one of the better Swinging Utters songs that I've heard, and I thought that the solo at the end of the song was really nice punctuation to the song.
Oh man, you're really pushing the buttons.
I'm supposed to just keep talking after that, huh? I didn't think it was a bad opener. I think something with a little more oomph and kind of energy to it would have been cooler, but it wasn't a bad track.
I really like this one. This might have been my favorite song on the EP. Although it's I liked all 5 of these songs. But I'll echo everything that Ben said, except for the punctuation thing, because get out of here.
No, yeah.
I'm a shitster.
This is such a this is so in line with like every other Swingin' Utters record we've talked about, just because like lyrically, it just seems like they hit on the same type of topics over and over again, but I guess they find different ways to talk about it. But I thought this was kind of interesting. He's comparing like his motivation to the sea.
It is kind of interesting to see what the topics that certain bands come back to are. Like what that tells you about the person writing the lyrics, at least, like what occupies their mind most of the time.
Yeah, and in the case of I guess all the lyrics, it doesn't really say in the liner notes, but I'm assuming a lot of the lyrics are written by Johnny. Seems to have like a pretty bad relationship with his parents, in particular his dad, because it seems like it pops up in a lot of their songs about growing up and how like it just sounds like it sucked a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Dads, man.
This is what happens when you spill paint in the garage.
What?
It's from the what movie is that? The one where they're all in detention. Breakfast Club. The one kid has a horrible relationship with his dad. And he's like, "This is what happens when you spill paint in the garage." And he's got like a big cigar burn on his arm because his dad put his cigar out on his arm for spilling paint in the garage, as one does. It was the 80s. We were burning kids with cigars. That's fine.
You know, kids are pussies these days. They can't handle guitar.
Can't handle a little cigar burn.
Guitar burns.
Sounds like a bad strung out song title. Like modern strung out song title.
Ooh, snap.
So Stupid Lullabies, I think, was probably my least favorite song on this record.
Favorite song title, though. I just think it's very funny. I don't know why.
Just imagining, are Stupid Lullabies for stupid babies?
If that's not an album, it needs to be.
Stupid Lullabies for stupid babies?
Yeah.
It's better than that Social Distortion one.
It's better than any Social Distortion.
Hard Times and Nursery Rhymes. Get out of here. Dude.
The cringiest shit ever.
Yeah, go away. Yeah, I mean, this is like a pretty straightforward song, but I think like you can already hear like sort of the band's style starting to like form, because this sounds like just what they end up doing as they move forward. It kind of fits in with it, although it's not as polished, and they do it better later. But the thing that I liked the most about this one was the guitar lead that takes to the end of the song, and like it ends with like a very Lookout Records style of pop punk sound to it. Like that, I was like, yeah, this is definitely like it's interesting to, we were talking about in the last episode about I Need Feedback and how it sounds like a queer song. Like you can almost see that they definitely like it's like a just something that they enjoy, so it's like a touchstone for them because you can kind of hear it come through here too.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
But what I was saying just before about how the repeating themes, this one just like Stupid Lullabies, like kind of like a funny song title, but then you read it and you're like, you read the lyrics, you're like, oh, that's not so fun, because it's like, sounds like it's literally like things that his dad said to him when he was growing up. Because like, the lines, "I've got so many errands to run, son. Fraternize with poker buddies and their cash, son. I found the better part of life singing you stupid lullabies." Or I spent the better part of life singing you stupid lullabies. It's like, damn, dude, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is a very
not
bummer.
great.
The song lyrics themselves are pretty sad. So the next song I think is my favorite on this EP, and I think probably my favorite Swinging Utters song so far, which is "Love, I Hate You." The lyrics are really dumb, but like in like a fun, good way. It feels like a song that like Stiff Little Fingers or the Damned might do.
Yeah, I get a big vibe of that too.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely like about like an ex-lover. I mean, obviously, it just seems so obvious on its face. But I think what I do agree that the lyrics are just kind of whatever, but like I do think that 2 lines sum it up, and it sums it up pretty well. There's blood on the frosting when you cut the cake. Like that, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Like when you are beginning a relationship with somebody, you don't see any of the flaws, and then the deeper you dig, the more you're just like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't so great.
Well, and that seems to be like a marriage reference too. Like,
yeah,
you get to that point, like, and then you're starting to realize,
right?
Yeah.
All
right. So,
how did you guys?
Anything else?
I just want to ask, how did you guys feel about that? That like cool guitar lead, or the that adds like that sort of spacey reverb towards the end. It's like a really interesting effect that you don't really hear them do. I just thought it just kind of, I was like, oh, that's different for them.
Yeah, I didn't really expect it, to be quite honest with you.
Right.
My ears are dumb, and I don't think I picked up on that.
Oh.
So that sounds like something I'd be into. Yeah. All right. So the next song is also about love. It's about Greg's love, which is illegal in the state of Minnesota.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm just mainly thinking of Idiocracy. And
More rights for Greg's.
All right. So you know, kind of how I felt about the song was that they, maybe they should write more songs about love and less songs about like alcohol problems.
Yeah, this was another solid one, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like this song.
I would have liked this as the opener. I think this would have been a good way to kick the record off, or the EP off, I should say.
Yeah, I like this one. In particular, in the lyrics, I really like the first two lines that start this song, where he says, "There ain't nothing good about saying goodbye. There ain't nothing fair about saying farewell." It's like there's just like a nice, simple but kind of clever twist on that.
Wordplay, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward
good
song.
song.
I do like that guitar. The guitar is like really like going wild at the end, in a way that's really fun.
Yeah. And then, I thought the last song was just another good song. It was just a simple, stupid punk song. Is it two songs together, or should we think about it as a song with two names?
It is two songs, I think, because from when I was looking at the credits on it, it has somebody that's not in the band credited to the first half of it, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then the other half was written, I think, by Johnny Bonnell. But so it must have been some kind of collaboration, but it does kind of have, the song definitely has like two halves to it, because he just kind of switches from saying sounds wrong to devious means. But yeah, it's interesting because it almost feels like you're gonna get like this much longer song, and it's not really any longer than the others. But yeah, it's a good track. So in the lyrics, he says, "Heard I was a member of the ICF." Does anybody know what is the ICF?
I do not know.
I could not.
I eat vermicelli, but I'm Irish at best.
Right.
ICF.
So I looked up ICF, see if anything came up, and all I got was International Classification of Functioning, Disability, and Health, which is definitely not what he's talking about. So
Where is
I don't know.
vermicelli from? Is it a French noodle?
No. I just assume all noodles are Italian.
Racist. Yeah, I don't know what the ICF is.
Yeah, it is. It is Italy. So it is Italy ICF. Italian Catholic Federation.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So it is not the Reston, Virginia-based global consulting technology services company. My bad.
I mean, it may not be that, but like
that makes sense. Though. I mean,
like something Italian that would be associated with ICF.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've never eaten Italian food with vermicelli. I've only ever eaten vermicelli like as like part of like some sort of like, like Thai dish or like Chinese dish or something.
Well, maybe that's where it actually comes from.
Yeah, Marco Polo or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. I prefer Skyline.
Good man. Alex, did you hear?
Hear what?
That they're getting rid of the Pepsi products at Skyline?
Oh, wow. That's a big change.
Yeah, people are really upset about it, apparently. Well, some people are. Like, people with taste are excited that Coke is coming to Skyline.
Fuck yeah! I guess it doesn't matter to me because they've robbed Cleveland of both of our locations and haven't given any back.
Well, the thing is, like, some people
Bastards.
that were upset about it were big fans of the Mountain Dew in Skyline, which I know you've partaken in that before.
Long ago, I have not had. I think the last time I ever drank a Mountain Dew was probably at a Skyline. By the way, this is so regionally specific that we should probably talk about what the hell we're talking about.
Oh, everybody knows what Cincinnati chili is at this point. The news loves to talk about how weird we are.
Okay, but like Skyline, you have to.
What people don't talk about is the fact that you guys cut it, which is the most psychotic way to eat spaghetti I've ever seen.
You don't cut spaghetti?
No, you twirl it like a person.
But no,
you don't cut it like a child.
Twirling is not very efficient. You cut it and then
twirling is not efficient. It's the most efficient way of delivering spaghetti.
I always break my spaghetti up into smaller pieces.
You are a serial killer.
This is the.
If I found out you wore someone's skin while you were cutting spaghetti, I would believe it.
This is the greatest digression
I am wearing someone's
skin on this podcast.
Someone's skin that's not your own. I mean.
Oh man. Okay. So I think we all generally like this.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. The last track gave me. You were mentioning Stiff Little Fingers. The last track I got a big like Clash, like early Clash, Buzzcocks kind of vibe.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
With like this kind of like stop start riffing, like the like dun it and like the little pauses and stuff. It reminded me of like those first couple Clash records.
Mm. Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great EP.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys. I guess Swingin' Utters just had to go back to the root.
Yeah, we just gotta go figure out that the early stuff is where the sweet spot is for me with that band. Apparently,
apparently they released a bunch of EPs too. Is that right? Or
no?
It looked like they had more early EPs.
Maybe this is definitely towards the very beginning, though, from what I saw.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
Yeah. All right. So before we flip over to side 2, before we talk about the third record, there's no side 2 here. Let's take and pose some burning. Let's take a break and pose some burning questions to the panel. First up, and there's more, but this is the first one. How do you guys feel about breakfast?
I love breakfast. Any time of day.
Love breakfast. I'm a big fan.
Some scrambled eggs all day. All day.
I mean, I have to have breakfast. And, you know, when I wrote this question down, it's because I have met a lot of people that are staunchly anti-breakfast. Are just like, no. Why? No food before 11 a.m. Like, what? What is going on?
Is that an LA thing?
I don't know. I don't think it's an LA thing specifically. I think it is just because, you know, I know so many people that are just not from here, so I don't think it's LA or West Coast or whatever. I think it's just some people don't like breakfast, don't want to deal with it. Like, and it mystifies me because, like, when I wake up, I'm hungry. I don't know about y'all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At minimum, I need like something that, you know, some sort of a beverage or something. But yeah, a breakfast would be ideal.
Gotta have coffee. Have to.
There is so much about breakfast I love that, like, I don't think I can properly express how much my heart just pours open for breakfast. Most of you, since we're already on the Cincinnati tip a little bit earlier, most of you listening, all 2 of you or whatever, have never experienced Geta, most likely.
I knew that's where you were going.
And you
with
should
this.
you should fix that. It's like the best breakfast food ever. So they take pork and beef and they mix in like spices, like shit like sage, and then they cut it with steel cut oats. And when, you know, it turns into this loaf, and then you slice off pieces of the loaf and you fry it up, and it's one of the best things in the world. It takes on syrup really well. Like,
interesting.
Very, very decadent to have Geta with pancakes and then cutting, putting the get it on top of the pancake and then putting the syrup on top and then having in each bite of a pancake a bit of get it in it as well. I also want to talk about Monte Cristos. I don't think enough people eat them. Enough people make them. Monte Cristos are a really good way to eat breakfast.
Except for the fact that it'll fucking kill you if you have too many of them.
Yeah, it will.
Denny's had one. The Grand Sandwich was basically a Monte Cristo, and it was awesome because it was basically a Grand Slam, but as a sandwich. Grand Sandwich. I maybe I didn't say that properly at first. The Grand Sandwich. Very good product from Denny's.
That is a good burger.
Okay,
good
Monte Cristo
sandwich.
specifically. I will say this. You've just unlocked a memory for me. Best Monte Cristo I ever had was when I was hanging out with you, Josh. We went to Melt.
I was gonna say, yeah, Melt used to have a great one.
That thing was
They probably still do.
That thing was so good. I cannot imagine having that more than once a year because it.
Yeah, it was didn't it come with like powdered sugar all over it too, or something?
Sugar and like a jam dipping sauce. Like it's.
Yeah, the mixed berry preserves. It's like their best
Out of control.
side or condiment, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
That was when we ate an entire dinner, and I just left my car running without realizing it on the street in the middle of Cleveland Heights for like 2 hours.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
We got back to my car, and I was like, "Where's my keys?" And I did that like I locked my keys in the car, panic, and then I looked at my tailpipe, and there was just exhaust coming out, and I was like, "Oh, I just left it running." I'm very, very lucky that no one just like waltzed off with my shitty 2007 Impala.
So lucky, but maybe they saw that you went into Melt and they're like, no, he left it
That would have
running.
been such a lucky break if they would have stolen that car. That car was a fucking nightmare.
Oh, I was gonna say like
I was
maybe they left it alone
such
because
a regret.
most of the food,
They just knew.
Most of the food at Melt is like the kind of thing that you eat and then you probably need to find a bathroom.
Absolutely, or just like a bed.
It's like, no, he needs a quick getaway, so we're gonna let this guy go. Ben, did you have other questions that you wanted to pose to the panel?
I did. So I thought of another question earlier today while I was admiring the cover art to the next record we're going to talk about. I noticed that it had fortune cookies all over it, and I think the album title was in a fortune. And so, what is the most interesting fortune that you have ever received?
I already know yours. Like nothing will ever even touch yours, so you have to go last.
Okay, yeah.
I unfortunately, I don't think I do. I've never had any that were like super memorable. Like the best one I ever heard is the one that you're gonna share with us.
The only interesting one
What do you got, Josh?
The only good one I've ever had that I can remember is I had one that said, "Your love of gardening will take you far," which I don't know what that means or how it applies to my life, but I don't like gardening.
I love that.
And it has taken me nowhere.
That is so interesting. Like
specific.
It's so specific. Like that. See, it's rare a fortune cookie that dares to go outside of the just general.
Yeah, the norm of just
boring,
the sage advice.
Yeah, the very boring aphorisms. Like it's and Ben's got it in spades here. You have to tell the whole story, Ben.
I mean, the whole story is not really that funny. I mean, I was at a Chinese restaurant and I get a fortune, and I look at the fortune. I'd eaten a big meal. I mean, the implication of this is going to relate to that, I guess. The fortune read, "You laugh now, wait till you get home."
Threatening fortune I have ever heard. For some reason, I thought something like actually did happen to you when you got home, but I guess not.
I mean, my stomach kind of hurt, but I think that was because I just ate a ton of Chinese food.
Okay. For some reason, I thought that there was like another part to the story, but yeah, I mean, that's an amazing fortune.
Yeah. All right, so that other album, that other EP, was the Ataris "Look Forward to Failure." I bet unless you owned Fat Music for Fat People, the first one, you probably... Wait, was this on that, or was this on Life in the Fat Lane?
It was on 4, yeah.
Yeah, this would have been way
Um,
too late of a release.
Yeah, I guess in my head I put it on the original Fat Music. I think I got those around the same time. But the Ataris Look Forward to Failure was released on November 24th, 1998, same day as that Swinging Ataris reissue. The band is a little lad named Chris Rowe on guitar and vocals, Patrick Riley on guitar, Michael Davenport on bass, and Chris Knapp on drums. And backing vocals were provided by Chad Price and Mark Hoppus. And I have some interesting things to say about that last part there. I'm overselling that, sorry. Tracks 1 and 5 were recorded at Orange Whip Recordings in Santa Barbara, California. Engineered by Angus Cook. Produced by Joey Cape. Tracks 2 through 4 and 6 were recorded at the Blasting Room in Fort Collins, Colorado. Engineered and produced by Bill Stevenson and Stephen Egerton, and it was mixed by Jason Livermore. So, real who's who of pop punk involved in the making of this EP.
Really surprising how fluid it sounds too, with the two different sets of production teams on it.
It's kind of crazy, like how much went into making this 6-song EP. It's almost like everybody,
for sure.
Everybody was like, no, I want a piece. Give me a piece. And yeah, it's fascinating to me that this little 6-song EP had so much put into it.
So I did not really like this band much at all when I was younger. I kind of thought they stunk. But I think this record's surprisingly good.
Yeah, I think it holds up really well.
It feels like it takes that Atari sound that you know and hate and mixes it with some more Epiphat, and
I
it
definitely
works
could see that
really well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I definitely had a burned copy of this record, which is what led me to buying Blue Skies, because I found out that Joey Cape had produced that record, and I was like, oh, I should buy that. And I liked the first track on this record at the time. But I want to say the artwork in particular is so perfect, because it tells you exactly what this is, just by showing the picture of these guys on the cover, and you're they look like kids, and they certainly are kids, and I think that that makes me more forgiving in terms of the lyrics.
Kids, I think that Chris Rowe was 19 or 20, so they were legally adults.
But really, they don't look far removed from high school at all here.
No.
You look at them, Ben, do you not look at these kids on the cover and think they look like the people that we went to high school with, right? Time period.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I took one look at it and I was like, wow, it actually really does take me back, just looking at the way they're dressed and the style of their hair and everything. It's just pulled all the way back to early 2000s.
Yeah. You don't see that hair as much anymore. You don't see
Chris Rowe doesn't see any hair anymore.
You don't see those sideburns like that anymore either.
Let it out, Alex. Let it out.
I like that the one guy is rocking the t-shirt over the long sleeve.
Dude, the thermal under the t-shirt was the look of the era for sure.
Right, yeah.
With puka shell necklace, I think is what he's wearing there.
Maybe rock a soul patch, a little bit of the hair under the lip there.
Dude, it's so of its time. It's like a time capsule. It's unbelievable.
I was just gonna say the artwork is legitimately a genuine time capsule.
Yeah, it's.
Are there actually 0 lip rings in that picture?
There's got to be at least one, if not an eyebrow ring, right?
You just can't see. You need to zoom in. There's probably a couple.
Or a labrae piercing or something.
Definitely
we weren't quite to snake bites yet, so we wouldn't have a snake bite set, but
no, it's too emo.
Might have a labrae piercing here or there.
Snake bite's way too emo. Definitely lip ring though.
See, snake bite, I think I associate more with bad metalcore bands.
Yeah, well, that's all one thing.
That and emo kind of blended together at a point, so it
that's true.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
Let's talk about the record.
yeah. Let's talk about this record so we can get to the main event. All right. So I think that San Dimas High School is actually pretty good for this style of pop. Like, it's a very
the song's
good
a
version
classic.
It is.
of this style of music. The song's actually pretty fast at times. The hooks are pretty good. The lyrics are, like you said, Alex, they were pretty fresh out of high school at the time.
Yeah.
Though I feel like if Chris Rowe is still singing this song live, he might have to like introduce himself every time he moves to a new neighborhood to everybody.
Well, you can really assume that he wrote this when he was like 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Because why else would you title a song like that?
It's his favorite place to cruise for chicks.
Fuck.
Well, that's a Bill and Ted reference, isn't it?
Probably, yeah.
I believe it is.
I think it is. Because it's referenced. Bill and Ted's definitely like referenced in the lyrics. But this has to be the first song I ever heard from this band.
It's definitely the first one I ever heard from them.
Because I think it was on Life in the Fat Lane, and that's where I would have come across it. But yeah, coming back to the song, it was like a blast from the past a little bit, and I was like, oh yeah, I really liked this song. And so yeah, it's sometimes it can be so hard for me personally to separate like the lyrics when the lyrics are so easily discernible from like me like thinking about the song, like, but like the melodies and the way that it's written, really good. Like, it's really good, but
Yeah.
it's where I just get distracted and I just like want to turn it off when I hear the lyrics. I just don't. It just doesn't hold up in terms of the lyrics, and I just wish that I wish he would just rewrite the song, keep all the music the same, and just change the lyrics. I really wish, because then I could enjoy the song again, like fully. But the ending to this song in particular, because this is one of the ones that Joey Cape worked on, and the rhythm guitar in particular in the verses really sound like Lagwagon. And then the ending also feels so much like what Lagwagon was doing on Let's Talk About Feelings. Like, Joey must have been like hot off the recording of that record when he produced this song, because it sounds so much like.
You are right. That I do get it. I see what you're saying. I'm sitting here like trying to replay the song in my head.
Yes,
I could see Joey singing this song. I mean, I would rather he change the lyrics a bit, but like this, yeah, could work as a Lagwagon song, at least like the music.
Yeah, in some
and
ways.
The pattern, the vocal patterns.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, just listen to Let's Talk About Feelings, and then like listen to this song, and you'll hear a lot of similarities, I think.
So, Alex, are you terribly familiar with the one that's on the Blue Skies record? Like, are there big differences between the two versions?
I don't
think there are differences.
I listened to the album the other day just because the EP kind of put me in the mood to check out and see if I still liked Blue Skies as much. I don't think there's a big difference. I think there is a difference between the Life in the Fat Lane version and this, though. I think the Life in the Fat Lane version
really
might be like it might be like a slightly less polished version. So I don't know if maybe it was an unmastered version from the EP before it came out, or if it was a demo or something. Yeah. I could also be completely misremembering, but I know I remember Fat had a pretty decent history of throwing demo versions on the comps before the albums would hit.
Yeah, I didn't even think to see if that was the case. I do know that when I was looking up the liner notes to this record, it does say in the liner notes that specifically that 2 of these songs are going to be on the forthcoming album. So it was like this wasn't. They recorded this EP knowing that it was leading into the record that they had already written.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to it, and to me, the San Dimas High School on the LP, and there were like maybe like some like guitar parts that were clear in this that I couldn't really hear in that. But yeah, they sounded like pretty dang identical to me when I listened to them. All right. So the next song is called Not a Worry in the World. This song to me sounded like a ton like The Offspring and had like tons of pop punk tropes bleeding through it.
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
It was a surprisingly good song.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I like the drum opener quite a bit. I thought it was kind of an interesting way to kick the song off.
I like this one too. And this is probably the only song, maybe the last one, that I could like see myself like casually throwing on and listening to, because you know, a lot of my major ding against this whole record are the lyrics, and how like saccharine they are and how like angsty. But this one, I think this one, it didn't bother me so much at all. And I do like the part at the end where he's saying "Not a worry in the world" with the backing vocals. I think it's like a cool, like,
yeah,
you can see like this band, and whether it was the band itself had a lot of really great ideas, or if it really was like all like the brilliant people on the production side that were making this happen. But like, there's some really creative songwriting on this record.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right. So song 3 is probably my favorite on the record. Do one of you guys want to explain what the next song is? Or should I?
I think you should.
You can go ahead.
Because I'm not following.
Oh, it's like a stalker love song for Claire Danes.
Yeah, it's like a real cringy My So-Called Life, like Claire Danes love song. It's very awkward.
I didn't pick up on that.
Oh, I love it. It's so creepy and weird.
It's very
gross.
It's real gross.
I wasn't. So was that a movie or a TV?
That was a TV show in like the mid to late 90s.
Yeah, never saw it. I wasn't familiar.
It was like where Jared Leto, for better or worse, that's where Jared Leto's career pretty much kind of kick-started.
Oh, really?
And like Claire Danes for that matter, but it was like a MTV, I believe. Like
it was like
teen hyper drama.
A teen drama that was supposed to be kind of edgy too, like more edgy than most teen dramas were. Like people, I think, were doing hard drugs and shit like that.
Yeah, looking back, I think it was like a vaguely like progressive show for the time, if I remember right.
Huh. That all makes so much sense. Like, because my notes on this song in particular, this feels like it came straight out of 1998 pop radio and slapped me in that mouth. I mean, like,
yeah, dude.
He references Jerry Springer, and like it, it really fits in with the like Blink-182 style of pop punk from the radio pop punk in particular from this era.
I forgot about the Jerry Springer line.
Yeah.
Today I hijacked a plane. I wrote your name across the sky, Miss Claire Danes. Oh, is he rhyming plane with Danes?
Just a few years later, that line is way worse.
I could not have been able to write that if it was 2001, late 2001.
Chris Rowe as the 9/11 terrorist. He just shouts San Dimas High School football rules as the plane crashes into the building.
So Jerry Springer is like the third Cincinnati thing to pop up on the show.
Yeah.
And while I was looking into the history of the band, I did not know this, but apparently like their big break came by like Chris Rowe going to Bogarts and like giving their demo to somebody.
Really?
There's like a story in there about him going to Bogarts. It's like a focal part of the Ataris lore.
Wow.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, so the band's first big break came in 1996 when Rowe attended a show at the Club Bogarts in Cincinnati, where Thomason, who was a guitarist at the time, was he in the band when this came out?
No.
It gave the demo tapes to passed one of the band's demo tapes to a roadie from the band. The band in question here, I guess the Vandals.
Oh yeah, because they wound up on Kung Fu for a minute.
Yeah, the roadie gave the tape to Joe Escalante from the Vandals, who owned Kung Fu Records.
Mm-hmm. Who's also on an episode of Bar Rescue. It was
Joe
real
Escalante.
weird.
What?
Yeah, Joe Escalante was on an episode of Bar Rescue, and it was great. This guy owned like a shitty punk bar in Texas or something, and John Taffer called his expert in punkin', and it was Joe Escalante. And Joe Escalante told the guy his bar sucked, and the guy was like, "I don't know who you are, man." Which fair.
Dang.
All right. So the next song is "My Hotelier," and that was another song that kind of reminded me of Lagwagon a bit.
Yeah, I would agree.
Big time, man. This one, like,
and it's so much better than the album version that would come later. This version is so much better.
This jumped out at me. Like, I listened to it and I was like, whoa, this, like, if somebody, like, okay, first of all, how is this not one of the songs that they recorded at Orange Whip with Joey Cape? Because it sounds so much like Lagwagon. Like, if you would have told me that Joey Cape wrote it, I wouldn't have been surprised. Like, it just sounds so much like something he would do. So this is like straight up like Lagwagon worship or something.
I thought it was a pretty good song.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's a decent song.
On the other hand,
yeah,
Between You and Me was not for me.
Yeah, Between You and Me, the song stinks.
Yeah, this is definitely my least favorite here.
And then the last song, That Special Girl, I think I summed it up perfectly with, it's exactly the kind of song you'd expect Mark Hoppus to contribute vocals to.
Yes.
Yeah, and they pull some real bait and switch bullshit here where they're like featuring Mark Hoppus. Mm-hmm. It like features Mark Hoppus in the way that Alkaline Trio record features Keith Morris. On Morris? Good Morning, when they were like, yeah, on Good Morning, he's on We've Had Enough. I remember when that came out, they made a big deal. Exactly.
Wow.
They made a big deal about how Keith Morris was going to be on the track, and literally Keith Morris screams "We've had enough" once at the end of the song. And like Mark Hoppus is like barely in this track. He's on like like a backing track towards like the end of the song.
He's pushed pretty far back there too. Like he's really not prominent. Yeah. To me, so yeah, and I agree. But what's interesting, this feels like the most straightforward out of all the songs. Like it's just fast, poppy, and this out of all these songs sounds the most like something that actually fits on Fat Wreck, but nothing else really does.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right. That's true.
Man, Desperation is a stinky cologne. That's all I could think after reading the lyrics to that song.
It's hard to take, man. That's really just take all these songs and rewrite the lyrics, man, and then re-release it.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna do the last segment of the last episode.
First, before we move on, I want to actually talk about how did this Ataris record end up on Fat? I
always wondered that too, and I honestly for years forgot that this was even released on Fat.
Because you listen to it, and did you guys not like think to yourselves like, this sounds nothing like something that Fat Mike would have put out on his label? This sounds so.
I thought that when I heard Fat Music 4, I was like, I like this song a lot, but it didn't make any sense to me.
It's so far removed. like it's not necessarily the music is not really what I'm talking about. I am talking about the vocals in particular. Just do not sound like something that Fat Mike would have listened to and been like, yeah, I want that on my label.
Right.
I like it just I don't know if it was like maybe it was Joe Escalante. It was just like, hey, there's this band, we're gonna put out their record. Do you guys like I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like how this even happened. Like did Joey Cape
Really?
I think Joey Cape's the simple answer.
Yeah.
Here.
Right?
No, yeah, it's probably it. Logically, that's got to be
like
it.
The connection that had to have happened, but like I'm so interested to know how this ended up on Fat because it just does not feel like it fits. Everything that we talked about to this point in our entire run of episodes, nothing sounds like this.
No, unless these dudes were doing housework for Fat Mike like Strung Out was. They're just epoxying his garage floor.
I don't know, man.
Hey, man, we'll do it for free if you put out our EP.
Bizarre. It is like just like such like a strange anomaly because it's
it's a very like left foot in the right shoe kind of vibe. Like it just doesn't fit.
It's so radio friendly. Like it just the fact that like Mark Hoppus is in there too is just like another sign that you're just like how did this little band get all of these people to like jump in and be like, yeah, like let's all get behind these guys. Like they just must have seen like they must have just had some kind of foresight like, oh, this band's going to be huge. And I guess they kind of were, but like
maybe they were a plant band.
Maybe, I don't know.
The Ataris are a false flag.
But
well, like they were like told to like put out stuff on independent labels to build a cred, and then
that usually if that happens, they waited a long time to put them on a major label because they put out 2 albums on Kung Fu before they finally got their major label debut. So I don't know. It's just like I just find this record to be such like a weird thing to end up.
It's an anomaly for sure.
Yeah,
in a very strange way.
Mm-hmm. But ultimately, not a bad little EP.
No, it's fun.
Surprisingly good.
It's like cake for breakfast. It's what this EP is like.
I think that's good. Yeah.
All right. Now we're gonna do Before They Got Fat. So we're gonna change things up. We're gonna talk about a band that will, in the future, put out records on Fat. Starting to sound like RFK Jr. there. But we are going to once again check in with Dillinger 4 so that we can discuss one of the best damn records ever recorded. And that record is called Midwestern Songs of the Americas. It came out June 23rd, 1998 on Hopeless Records. And I mean, you know, what really needs to be said? Like, they're one of the best bands ever. It's one of the best records ever.
I'm curious how much it costs to record inside of a trash can, though.
That's so fun.
I love this. Sounds so much better.
It sounds like so I love this band, but I could never completely connect to them because all their records sound like they were recorded in a fucking. They just sound weird. Like I don't know.
I disagree.
I can't do it.
You can't do it. Oh my god!
It just there's good songs, but it's just so I don't know. There's something about it.
I love the way it sounds. Okay, but it's so funny that you say that though, because I pulled a quote that the band shared. It's so funny. They said, "True story. When we sent the completed album in, one of the label guys said the demos sounded good and wanted to know when we were heading into the studio."
Yeah, you fucking see exactly.
But like, but I listened to it, and I never thought it sounded that way. I
always thought the vocals sounded weird. Like it always sounds like there's like an effect on them. I don't know.
Yeah,
I always thought maybe I had like bad headphones or something.
The things that you're complaining about are things I like about it.
Right.
I mean, that's fine too. Like I don't want it to be confused that I think they're a bad band because I think they rule. And every time I've seen them live, I've had a great time. It's just something about the records that drive me away.
Yes,
for a period of time.
The
like as it goes on, like I like Situationist comedy. I think it sounds great. I think it's an awesome record. But for some reason, those first couple just sound like I did just sound off to me.
I mean, like, I can maybe understand where you're coming from. It definitely has, like, I don't know, man. It's just they have their own thing.
They
have their
definitely do. I
they
would
have
not argue that.
their own thing, their own sound. Just they already like, especially at this point in 1998. This feels like a very singular band. Nobody else sounds like this.
No, I would completely agree with that. They are one of the most unique,
And
like, modern punk bands, I think.
well, I think that they changed melodic hardcore pop punk full stop. Like, they really did something here that nobody else was doing. And they did it at such a high level that I don't I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody could ever do something like this and even come close. And maybe some other people have tried, and there are bands that kind of fit in with that. There's no one can touch this band in terms of like how they sound. Like, they have it's that bass, and then like the way that they layer the vocals in such creative and interesting ways, and like the fact that their vocals, like Patty and Eric, have such completely different styles of delivering their vocals. It shouldn't work, but it works so well. Like, they had such like a great ear for melody that they take like just you just wouldn't expect this to be as catchy as it is, right? Just this style.
Yeah. There's when you say melody, one thing that pops out to me with some of these songs is they almost sound like somebody has turned like a Merry Melodies, like Looney Tunes episode, into a punk song. The way some of these songs sound.
It's a great description.
I actually thought a bit about how to describe the way that they sound, and I eventually found a very good description in a Vice published something about, like, I think around like the 30th anniversary or the 25th anniversary of this record. Or no, 20th, or yeah, I think the 20th anniversary of the record. And the description in there that I thought was the best was that it was pop punk Motorhead. I also really liked they were kind of pointing out that like Minneapolis has both kind of like a poppy punk roots, but also like roots in like kind of crust punk, and something about kind of like the wall of sound they incorporate kind of makes me think of that style of music as well, kind of being blended with pop punk here.
It sort of is like, you saw it really first from Husker Du, in terms of like adding in those like really great melodies into music that you don't think of as having, that go with it. And Dillinger 4 sort of does their own thing, but takes on that legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, can we just talk about how like Dillinger 4 is the king of, first of all, bizarre sound bites. Like, they do it better than just about anybody. Maybe better than anybody. And then also song titles, because the song titles are
some solid song titles.
Incredible. Like, you read these song titles and you are just like, okay, these guys are funny. And if you've ever seen Dillinger 4 live, they are very funny.
Maybe the greatest stage banter in punk. I mean,
stage banter
in the conversation.
It's a full on like spoken word with.
It's often like a straight up comedy show. You are right.
It's spoken word with, songs played at certain points. But yeah, some of the sound bites are just so bizarre. The children singing, both on Portrait of the Artist as a Fucking Asshole and Double Whiskey Coke No Ice. Just anytime that I have ever had one of those songs come on while I'm like driving in my car and somebody's with me, they are always have the same reaction, like, what the fuck was that? Because it starts and they'll be like, what is this? And then it goes into the actual song and they're like, okay, what is that? It's, yeah, Well done, guys. So are we gonna talk about any of the specific songs on here? Because I mean, it's hard to even single anything out because it just is an entire album full of hits for me personally. Like I really they're all phenomenal.
There
Like
are some that stand out to me. And I'm sure for you as well.
Yeah.
For a while now, Supermodels Don't Drink Colt 45 has probably been my favorite song on the record.
That's a great one.
So good. Also, I love that song.
I like number 51, Dick Buckus, quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mosh for Jesus is really good, and obviously, Double Whiskey Coke No Ice is kind of like a classic for this band.
I was gonna say, like, I think that actually you could maybe point to that as being the Dillinger 4 song, which I think is so
I would say so.
It's almost like their theme song, and it's the only song where they actually call out their own name. They shout D4 at the beginning of it. It's like it's like they knew. They're like, this is the one.
Right.
Is it the song that's made them the most money?
It's the song that's made venues the most money, I'm
I
sure.
don't know.
Well, I just did or did not Green Day have to pay him a bunch of money because that one fucking song was just like a straight up rip of it?
Oh, I
don't
forgot
know
about that. I forgot all. What song was that? Was something on American Idiot or something?
Yeah, it was something on American Idiot. I think it is American Idiot. I mean, the riff for that is, and they settled out of court, is what somebody on Reddit is saying. So we should trust that information.
I forgot all about that. Yeah, that's wow, what a blast from the past.
Well, it's like Wes from American Nightmare got paid a lot because, like, I think Fall Out Boy ripped off some of his lyrics as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Just
hey, man, get paid.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. What's your favorite title? Not your favorite song in this, but your favorite title, Alex.
Superpowers enable me to blend with machinery.
A good one.
It was probably my favorite, but then I was actually going to point this out as being one of my favorite songs is Honey, I Shit the Hot Tub is also...
Honey, I Shit the Hot Tub.
What a great
Definitely
song.
The best.
It's so good.
All right. It's just glowing praise here.
Can't overstate how good this record is, and if you've somehow never listened to it, like just do it. Like it's the best demo you've ever heard.
It's a really good demo. All right. Any other thoughts, guys?
No.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, for this season. If you have any questions, comments, or most importantly, corrections on anything we might have gotten wrong, please email us at ontherecord@gmail.com so we can set the record straight in a future episode. There will be at least be one bonus fat this summer, if not multiple. And so look forward to that. And otherwise, we'll see you next season.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.